team member constantly asking for approval. I'm an engineering team lead at a manufacturing site for a project. I'm not anyone's manager, just a lead for the project. There's another female engineer on my team who's constantly asking for approval on her tasks. I'm talking about asking me to approve a memo or email before sending it. At first, I'd provide feedback, usually just fixing small errors like grammar or other small adjustments. I'd always assure her that she was doing a good job. Early on in the project, she had an error in an announcement PowerPoint that would have caused some panic from operators, but I coached her on the wording to improve it. I understand being scared to make a mistake, but most of this is low stakes and well within her experience. I did not reprimand her in any way for any mistakes she made, just provided coaching and guidance. But at this point, it's taking away from my own ability to work because it's so constant. She always needs reassurance. I almost don't care if there are mistakes because it's fixable in the long run. What do I do? Do I talk to her manager? It's overwhelming at this point, honestly. All right. What I would say is that maybe set up like a DOA with her, a delegation of authority, and just like list out certain things that you don't need, that she does not need your approval for. And then once she comes to you for those things, you say, "Hey, did you check the DOA?" And then she can refer to her handy dandy written out notes that say, "Hey, for these types of things, I don't need your approval." And then she says, "Oh, great. I just want you to look at it one more time." You say, "No, it's within your DOA. I don't need to sign off on that." And then that's how I would take it off your plate. And then if you have issues and she's continuing, then say, "Hey, you know what? If there's something that you still want to run by me, instead of, can you run it by your manager first and then bring it to me?" And then that way you're not necessarily talking to her manager, but you're kind of routing her through her manager, and then her manager will kind of give her that feedback that says, "Hey, you don't need to be hitting them up for questions on each of these little things." And then even then, if she is still coming to you, then I would have the conversation with the manager and say, "Hey, I've given them coaching. I think their work is great. If they make mistake, I think they made, one mistake that really scared them, but generally I think their work is great. Can you reassure them that their work is great and that they don't need to be coming back to me for feedback on every little thing?" That's the progression that I would have, is set up the rules of authority. If she doesn't follow them, refer her into the rules of authority. And if she still doesn't follow them, then have the conversation with her manager. Let's see everybody else says. I'd have a critical conversation with them about it. Oh, this is me. I'd maybe ask why they're doing so. And if they say that because they're worried about making a mistake or whatever you tell them, basically what you've told us. If they tell you that they were told to get reviews by their manager, then I'd have a conversation with their manager. I'd be really kind about it, reassuring them that they are capable and that they can refer to their notes for repetitive type things, and that if there's something that they haven't encountered before, you'd be happy to answer questions, but that you can't be responsible for improving their entire body of work. Edit to add, maybe give her a specific list of the things you want to be able to approve, and letting her know that you don't need to approve other things beyond that would also help the situation. So the DOA that I recommended earlier. Another thing I do to push people off if they ask me to review something that they've asked before, or a question that I've already answered, is I'll say, "Sounds like X. Is this similar to X?" And they say yes. You say, "Well, what did we look for, or what did we do when we encountered X?" And redirect the questions back at them to reinforce that they do have to be doing their own critical thinking and quality checking their own work product. So that's how I'd respond to that. Um, and that's what I have to say.
I just made a pilot, then they threw me on the stations. Now I'm not complaining, now I'm not complaining. My thoughts get complicated, I cannot explain in layman's. Never losing focus because I ain't chasing payments. Still playing in the basement while I'm working on arrangements. They heard the kid in 50 countries, thank God that's amazing. But I'd rather thank Spotify, they put me on the station.